in conversation with Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw of Biocon. Thank you, ma'am, so much for speaking to BloombergQuint. First of all, let's talk about the individual verticals and how they've performed. The small molecule vertical and the research services division have done extremely well this time around. What caused this, and what's your outlook here for these two verticals?
Well, like you said, I think small molecules and the research services business drove very strong growth this quarter. And I think the discovery and development services played out very well for Syngene. And for the small molecules business, I think the generics business in the US is beginning to get good traction. And then, of course, the API business of Biocon has started to accelerate tremendously because there's a huge surging demand for immunosuppressants. So I think both these businesses have managed to leverage these emerging opportunities very well. And we believe that going forward, these businesses are going to keep up this growth momentum. When it comes to the biologics business, biologics has had a very strong spurt of growth up until the fourth quarter. So they had 3 very strong quarters. And then unfortunately, the fourth quarter is a very weak quarter for biologics, which really pulled down the consolidated group performance. Biologics was impacted greatly by COVID issues this quarter. One of it was the inability to really ship out goods in the last week of March because of the lockdown. And that actually directly impacted both the top line and bottom line performance of this group. In addition to that, our partners, Mylan, in the US also had some COVID-related challenges in terms of moving inventory, which also hit us directly. So I think this is a one-off event, and we believe that there will be a recovery in quarter one and growth, normalized growth thereafter. And why do I say this? It's because we are already seeing a revival and recovery of this big impact that we had in the Q4 of fiscal 20. And moreover, we are expecting a glargine approval shortly. And the glargine business, of course, will add to our growth momentum in FY21.
Just a clarification here. Obviously, you spoke about your biologics business. Just wanted to understand, and as you pointed out, that recovery in the first quarter, normalization in the second quarter, the impact has been solely on account of the COVID-19. There has been no business pressure as such on the biologics business as well as the branded business.
Branded business actually has not performed very well, and it is, of course, a part of the whole biologics vertical. The branded business basically is an India-focused business, and I think here also we faced certain supply challenges and also certain logistics challenges this quarter. And apart from that, we are also trying to strategize on how we want to build this business. So that also is taking time. So I think there are many things to do for the branded formulations business. And as you know, we've also announced that we will be exiting from our joint venture in the UAE with our in the JV called Neo Biocon because of certain investigations around governance issues that our partner has been subjected to. So we believe that in keeping with our stringent adherence to good governance, we would like to exit that business. So that will also have some impact on the branded formulations business. But we believe that we can recoup that business because we will then start marketing our branded biosimilars business on our own in the UAE. So that will take a little bit of time, but I'm very confident that we will rebuild the branded formulations business in a stronger way. As far as the rest of the biosimilars biologics business goes for global markets, that has only been impacted this quarter because of COVID. But we've also seen some very good, announcements that have been made in terms of launching both Fulphila and Ogivri in Canada and Australia. And we're also seeing a good, uptick in the demand for biosimilars in markets all over the world.
The other part wanted to ask you, are you still confident of the $1 billion revenue target for the biologics business that you had identified earlier? This will obviously be in FY22, but is that on track?
That is absolutely on track. I mean, just one quarter dip is not going to get us off track. I just want to emphasize that. This is a one-off, one-quarter event. I don't think you should read more into it because I think the first quarter numbers should give you some comfort in terms of the recovery. And then the quarter two numbers and thereon will show you how the growth is taking place.
Can you give us a sense of how are you looking at R&D expenses going into the next year now?
You know, R&D, as I keep mentioning to you, is a very integral part of our business. And if we don't invest in R&D, we cannot sustain the growth momentum of any of our businesses. We are a science-led, R&D-led business. And if we don't invest in R&D, then, you might see some growth taking place for a few years and then you'll get hit. So as you know, R&D is extremely important and imperative for propelling growth. And we will keep investing at these levels. We are seeing very good advancement of all our programs, both in the small molecules, ANDA and API business, as well as in, of course, the biosimilars programs. We have 28 molecules either in the market, in development, or in early stage of development. I think all this is progressing well. We've also seen our BLA for biosimilar bevacizumab being reviewed by US FDA. So that's the next molecule that can also enter the market in the next fiscal. So I think these are very important aspects of the R&D investment to be looked at. And we continue to remain committed. In fact, we have been impacted by maybe a couple of weeks in terms of our programs because of the lockdown, where we could not really maintain our R&D operations at 100% levels. But that will just basically impact our R&D programs, which are under development by a few weeks. But that's not going to impact our overall long-term and mid-term development needs.
Okay. Ma'am, my final question, over the past 1 or 2 months, we've seen several announcements that have come in from your side indicating that the US FDA has been slowly and steadily clearing most of your facilities. Are all your facilities now cleared by the US FDA at this point of time?
Yes. Both European and US FDA agencies have actually cleared all our facilities, which actually puts us in a very strong state of compliance now.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much for speaking to BloombergQuint and all the best for the quarters going on.
Thank you.